I guess that's the freshman pass. I guess I don't know, but here we go.
I blame what's his
Oh,
name than
who?
anything. Stone. Stone's throwing some absolute terrible pitches right now. Like he's
Oh,
putting them
Brandon
in
Stone.
terrible situations. Yeah, he's putting them in
Brandon
terrible situations.
Stone. Brandon Stone. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, here we go. Q, let me know when we are on the old X slash Twitter slash Bird app, if you will.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. What
Mm-mm.
about now?
Yep.
All right. All right. Live on Facebook, live on X. What is YouTube doing? Let's find out. Live on TikTok. Welcome back, TikTok. Welcome back to the TikToking world, you TikTokers. Make sure you're hitting the hearts, I guess. Tapping the screen. I think that's how you send the hearts, right? Yeah, do that. Do that. We are live on YouTube. All right, Q, let's give this thing a countdown in 5 seconds. In five, four, three, two, and one. What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us here on the Welcome Home Podcast. I'm your host, Famously Garnet, and I'm joined by co-host Q.
What it do, y'all? What it do?
And we are coming to you live from the Believe Network. The Believe Network, the great people over there. We're excited to be the voice of South Carolina on the Believe Network now. We appreciate you guys tuning in with us and finding out what the Welcome Home Podcast is about. Q, there are a lot of things on the board today, a lot of things on the board to talk about. You got Paul Mainieri's future. Jadeveon Clowney was released by the Carolina Panthers today, so we'll kind of talk about that, why that was a good move for Carolina, as much as I hate to say it as a Gamecock fan. The A1s by Asia Wilson, they officially dropped. They officially dropped. Did anybody get their hands on them? That's a different story, including myself. Rahsul Faison hires an attorney. We will talk about that. And there's a shot there that we will see him on the show here in the future. We will get into that. And as Q is watching the South Carolina baseball game right now, and Auburn is, doing what they need to do against South Carolina as expected. But let's go ahead and Q. Let's start with South Carolina and the baseball program. A sore subject for most. Everybody feels some kind of different way about it, right? We do know things about what's going on with this program that is kind of kept behind the curtains, if you will. I will say this: if South Carolina wants to have a future anytime soon, I'm sorry, and I know the money that is involved. I get all that. But ultimately, if you do some math, right, and you take everything into account, right, let's say, for example, the fans don't show up for the rest of the season. The fans don't show up next season at all, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's two issues that we currently have to deal with right now, right? We need to worry about revenue sharing, right, and NIL. And South Carolina's NIL in baseball is simply not good. So here's my question to you. This team is about to probably have the worst season in probably history, right? Modern history.
Yeah.
If this continues and if they do it, you go ahead and cut your loss, even though you know what you're going to lose, right? You know what you're going to lose, all
Okay.
that money, right?
Okay.
Here's my thing though: the other battling point where people go to is South Carolina can turn it around next season, and I don't see how that's possible. Not having the NIL to do it, the revenue sharing is going to be at a lower end, right? As far as we know, I don't see where the future lies right now for South Carolina baseball with Paul Mainieri, and the recruiting is definitely not there either.
Um, as we're watching this, as I'm sitting here right now, so what you see me glaring at is the TV because we're down 5-1, bottom of the second inning, one out, first and second,
We were up
and
1-0 like 10 minutes ago. Not even 10
yeah,
minutes ago, 6 minutes ago,
yeah,
probably. Yeah.
and it's 3-0, so he's about to walk another batter, more than likely, and so I don't see how Paul can turn around. To me, we should never hire Paul in the first place. Um, I did not think Paul was the answer. I will never think that Paul was the answer. I was never sold on Paul. You can't tell me being away from and yeah, he just walked the batter. You can't tell me being away from the game for 3 years and then you make the statement that he made about, I didn't know the SEC was as strong as it is. Like, I don't I can't. I can't have a coach saying crap like that when this was a national title team that when you look back at their history, we've been to the College World Series about 7 times. Well, no. When I say college, I mean the championship game about 7 times, winning 2 of them, which is actually really good numbers when you think of the fact that one, we're making it to the title game, and then we've won it a couple of times, but we should have had a third one. So I I struggle a lot with this. We tied way too much money into a guy that was coming out of retirement to do this. You have a bigger issue when you don't have a team that's ready to back him, and you can tell by the way they're playing they're not wanting to back him. And so I'm really struggling there. And everyone knows when it comes to the Welcome Home Pod, we don't want to shine this kind of light, but we're also realistic people and we don't sugarcoat things either. And so with me making those two statements in those two situations, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. This is embarrassing. I know more money is going to get poured into NIL. I don't know why people think NIL was not an issue with South Carolina baseball when indeed it is an issue with South Carolina baseball because we don't really pay anybody. And how are you going to field a good team if you're not willing to pay the money to field a good team? So there's those struggles. I don't think Paul's a. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to show me where Paul's a good coach. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't see the good coaching. I don't know where the good coaching is. Sure, he's got wins galore, which is cool, but those wins aren't accumulating to what we have right now. We're 26-23. We're 5-19 in SEC play. Like at this point, this is getting out of control, and I would rather take the. We are. It's a losing sport, anyways. It's a sport that does not create revenue, so it's already a deficit sport. Are we going to really make it even worse by continuing on with the inevitable because we don't want to deal with a buyout? Um, Now I got to just turn my head to baseball alums and guys who really care about the program. If you want to see your program succeed, what are you guys willing to do as far as dealing with it? And so I feel like South Carolina needs to reach out to the Christian Walkers, the Jackie Bradley Juniors, uh, Witt, Merrifield, just guys that are in the league, Webb, and just we need to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just been ugly, and like I said, I don't know what South Carolina would average a game, right? But I'm going to tell you this from what we saw in the Florida attendance, right, from the fans there. Florida fans outnumbered South Carolina fans. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in, next weekend against LSU. Things are not going to be a whole lot better that way. And it's extremely frustrating to see that. It's extremely frustrating to see that, but also there's other teams, right, that need a new baseball coach, and there may be some more by the end of the season. You don't know. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Lamonis is out at Mississippi State. They're going to find somebody good. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
my thought process is, I think you have to cut ties. I don't see how it's going to get better. The recruiting is not there, right? The NIL is not going to be there enough to bring a solid program together next season. And just off from what we've heard from players, from what we know, it's not working. And who's to say that you bring a bunch of new kids at South Carolina and for it to automatically start connecting? I don't see it. I'm not buying it. I just don't see that happening. And I get it. People are like, well, Paul's different than Kingston was. Paul comes from more of a military background. I get it, but also Paul let those guys have a lot of free range in the offseason to compare to where Kingston did not. Okay. I'm telling you that those are facts. Those are facts from guys that we know on this team and the conversations that we've had. I'm telling you, I don't feel good about it. I feel like once Paul retired in 2021 and got out of the game for as long as he did, I mean, a few years is still a lot in college athletics. I don't care who you are. I don't care.
One year's a lot. 1 year's a lot. So
I'm telling you, like, you look at UNC right now, right? It is a circus over there with UNC, the way they're doing things in UNC football. It's gonna be a circus come football season for them, just like it is for our baseball program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I understand Paul, his history with LSU, his history in college baseball. I get all of that. But eventually the game passes you by. The game passes you by. And in this day and age, we're seeing the more success come from the younger coaches right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair to say that.
I just think, I mean, the thing is, how serious are we about baseball? Like, it just comes down to the fact of how serious are you about it. When during our time, it was serious, but right now, I don't see it being a very serious situation. the The plate approach is terrible. The pitching is god awful. The fielding is a joke. Like, to me, how serious are you? Like, Kingston wasn't even this bad. No matter how people want to put this, even Kingston was not this bad.
No, and
So I
no.
don't know what to say. Like, we haven't had this bad of a season. I don't even remember the last time we've had this bad of a season.
No, and I can't remember that you had reporters questioning things that Paul Mainieri was doing. Like, for example, you had John Whittle, who's been covering Gamecock athletics since I can remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, he's out there questioning things that Paul Mainieri's doing by, for example, like not starting Blake Jackson after he has 5 hits against Florida one game. I'm right there with him. Why did you start Blake Jackson that game? There's things that have happened this season. I almost want to call it coaching malpractice from giving some of these
I
guys the
agree.
amount of time they've had to warm up before going into a game. Looking at you, Aiden Palmer, right? 6 pitches. And this wasn't an injury scenario or anything for the pitcher prior to that. It's just getting ran out of off the mound, and your response is to give a guy like Aiden Palmer 6 pitches to warm up. Like, what are we doing?
As I said, Paul to me is unserious. He's very unserious. I don't see seriousness with him. And no matter how you want to put this and how you want to shake it, Paul has been absolutely hot garbage when it comes to coaching this program.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some Terry Rooney should not be here next year. No matter who's here, Rooney should not be here. Paul should buy Rooney out. That's how it should happen. If Paul is here, Paul needs to pony up his money and buy him out
Mm-hmm.
and make him go. Because that what's happened is ridiculous. It's terrible.
It is. It is. Yeah, it's bad, man. And we can sit here and talk about Gamecock baseball until the cows come home up in Clemson, right? But it's just it's an unfortunate side of things that we're at right now, and it's been so long. It's been so long since we've seen Omaha. It's been so long since we've been talked about being a program that you feared, man. Like, I remember the days like going to a Florida South Carolina series. People were like knocking each other down to get tickets on, man. Like, to going on Ticketmaster and spending more money than they should off a resale, that kind of thing. And last week, it's like you probably got them for free. Honestly, it's just
It's sad.
it's way past that.
You could have started off SEC play way better with the Oklahoma series when you had the win. You couldn't get it done. I mean, at this point, you're a joke. To me, there's nothing I could see Paul doing that could make me change my mind on anything with
No,
this. Um,
no.
I need someone in here that's cares about the program and wants this program to succeed. That's just where I'm at with it now.
Yeah, I do. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So all right, Q, let's go. We're taking a football. Go ahead and take it to the turf. Hey, man, Rahsul Faison, a guy that look, he came over to South Carolina from Utah State, a very prominent running back
Hmm.
over there. Had a lot of great reviews about him. Like I said, his character, his game, everything else is very, very solid. And Shane Beamer spoke about Rahsul Faison this week at one of the Welcome Home tours. Right, he's doing this Welcome Home tour right now, and quite frankly, Shane was pissed. Shane was pissed, and I'll give you the exact quote as I'm pulling it up here in a second. But Shane and Shane has the right to be pissed. Okay, Shane has the right to be pissed. But he said he was frustrated over it. He hadn't heard back from the NCAA. They've done everything that the NCAA told them to do. They came back and asked for more stuff, and well, guess what? And then Shane Beamer in South Carolina properly responded and sent them what they needed to, and they still didn't have an answer. Well, a day later, I say not even 24 hours later, breaking news of South Carolina's running back Rahsul Faison hires an attorney, or South Carolina hires an attorney, Darren Heitner. Darren Heitner, the same attorney that helped Miles Studi get his last year of eligibility after suffering his blood clots in basketball this past season.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he's good, man. He's got a really good relationship with the NCAA. He's great with NIL. He was out there in Miami. He works with them. He knows Miles Studi's family really well. His dad is also an attorney out there in Miami. So they have great relationships. And I think that was a bang move by South Carolina and Rahsul Faison by hiring this guy, by hiring Darren. So I'm excited. And he already said once this has been figured out, whether it's a denied request or it's approved, he will come on the podcast and he will talk more about that situation, talk about more what happened with Miles Studi, and it's just about all this in general. So he's going to be a great guest to have here in the future. I've already talked with him, and I can't wait to bring him on the show to talk more about that side of things, because that's truly a side of things we don't know enough about, and
That's
there's more to learn. Right, there's more to learn. So
it's true.
what
When it comes to Faison's situation, I'm disappointed. I guess would be my favorite word on the situation is disappointed, because there's a similar situation that's already taken place and that person's already been granted eligibility. So I'm trying to figure out if you got your information in January, at least the last of the information. I know it had started already before that, but you got all the stuff you need in January. We are now in May. So we're almost 6 months, away from when you got it, and you still haven't produced what we've been looking at you to produce. And I don't personally understand that. I'm struggling with that. I know Rahsul is struggling mightily with that. Shane's struggling with that. Everyone's struggling with that. The NCAA has yet to suspend Michigan. The NCAA has yet to punish Michigan. The NCAA has yet to do anything to situations that actually has some substance. You have yet to do a daggum thing to anything that has some substance. But when it comes to an eligibility that's pretty cut and dry, it's got everything it needs on it. You all of a sudden can't make a ruling. You can't get things done. We have to hire a lawyer. We have to do all these different things because you guys don't know what you're doing. And point blank period, that's where we're at. You don't know what you're doing. Everyone's called you out on it. You guys are a joke. I personally, what do you say to that? What do you say to that? Like what are we doing here? You show me NCAA where you're at. You show me what I need to know about you. I'm good. Like, bro, make the ruling and let's go forward. Because if you do that, you already know what an appeal is coming, and you know when it goes above your head, you know what's going to happen. It's happened. What, time and time again? All you're doing is delaying the inevitable.
I look, South Carolina and their relationship with the NCAA is just not good. Honestly, it really has never been, right. You look at the Brian Bowen situation, right? But with
Wesley
with
Saunders,
Frank Martin, yeah, Wesley Saunders. I mean, you name it. There's a bunch out there, and that's what gets me too, man. After hearing about Wesley Saunders' situation with the whole Whitney thing, and then really seeing this Florida documentary and everything that went on with the Florida team, oh, that heats you up. That if that doesn't tick you off, I really don't know what does, because what Florida was doing down there, man. I tell
and I
you
know they
that.
knew, and I know they knew.
No, I absolutely knew. Come on, they were a darling then. Come on now, they were a darling. Tim Tebow, Chris Leak. I mean, come on, man. It's like Auburn, right? Everybody knew what Cam Newton did, or Cam's father did, right? Cecile Newton. They knew what he did. You couldn't hide it. You weren't hiding that. Didn't matter. He was out there winning games, winning national championships. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. The darlings are always going to be protected. You know, it gets to a point where, for example, you look at Georgia, okay? the amount of arrest that Georgia has had in these off season is truly disgusting. I mean, it really is. It is a truly a demeaning number. It's terrible. There have been lives lost off of this, right? People have lost their lives because of the things that are going on at Georgia, and nothing is ever done about it. And nothing's ever done about it. Nothing.
Why
And
would
I'm
there
not.
be?
Why would there be? Exactly, because they are a darling. They win games. They bring in money. It's all about the money. That's what it's all about in any time, man. It's all about it, and that's what it's always going to be about is money. So why would they be, why would they be disciplined? Right? If that I'm telling you, if Faison was going for his eligibility at Georgia, Ohio State, I'm telling you, people can say what they want. He would have been ruled eligible back, about a couple months ago, man. It's called how it is. It's called how it is.
I just think I think right now I don't take the NCAA as serious anyway, so I don't think it matters
No,
what's going on.
no, there's no reason to not believe that he's not going to be approved, right? He's not going to get his eligibility
Hmm.
because it seems like anybody could take take NCAA to court now. Tennessee did it, right? UCLA did it. All these other teams just like, oh, I'll take it to court then. All right, come on, let's go. They don't want
Exactly.
that. They don't want that. So, getting like I said, for Rahsul Faison to go in that route to bring in this attorney on was a very very good move by whoever it was, whether it be just South Carolina, Shade Beamer, Rahsul Faison, whoever it was. It was a smart move. It was a very very
Well,
smart
according to
move.
Shane, he didn't know until he found out on you know um,
Yeah,
social media. So definitely wasn't him. May have been compliance or whatever, but whatever the case
might have been.
is, I mean, we just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Another thing as far as eligibility goes, Vicari Swain announced tonight. Vicari Swain will be back for summer session one. So he
Yep.
will be back officially for summer session one per Shane Beamer. That just came out tonight. That news just came out tonight. So
I mean, I'm glad he is. We're getting things back to square because he's gonna be a vital part of the defense this year. Vital part of the defense.
mm-hmm.
Humongous upside. Big fan of his. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Swain. Always been, always will be. I think it's just important and it's essential to have him there. So hopefully he's got his head on straight and we can keep going. Do what we got to do.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. Now the early mock drafts are starting to come out. Q, I know you've seen them. I know you've seen them because you'll be in the spaces and talking about it, right? Talking about where the fans do disagree, right? That Lenora Stellars is not going to go number one, or Nick Harbor not going, the first round, or Nick Harbor not going the first round, Jalen Kilgore not going to the first round. These mock drafts are interesting, though. I will say that, but I'll say this: out of every mock draft I've seen so far, okay, and there's probably been about 5 or 6 at this point. Every single one of them has Lenore's going in the first round. Every single one.
I've seen two that don't have him going the first round, but I don't know if that's because they don't think he's coming to or he's going to the draft or whatever the case may be. But I've seen two.
Was
Um,
one done by Brad Crawford? Because if so, that doesn't count.
nah, I don't.
Okay.
Nah, that ain't Brad. But what I will say is I'm intrigued by what Lenore's is able to do passing wise to improve this season. I know that's a big thing scouts are looking for. I think Nick Harbor having a bust out season will definitely put him in that just because of his measurables already.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't even be an issue in my personal opinion about that portion of it. But I'm intrigued to see what happens this year because I do think for them to go first round, we need 10-2 season,
Yeah.
no less than 9-3.
Yeah. I can agree on that. I think looking at South Carolina right now, man, like that's what Lenore's has to offer. It's what these NFL teams are salivating for, right? That's what they want,
Hmm.
right? That kind of skill set. And if he puts it all together, we know where it's going to go. We know it's where it's going to go, and he's going to be
Correct.
the highest quarterback draft pick ever for South Carolina in history. It's quite it's quite simple, right?
Yeah.
It's quite simple. So I'm interested to see, where that goes. And obviously, you've got a walking first round draft pick, no matter what happens. It seems like for 27 with Dylan Stewart, which
Yeah,
is funny enough that the draft is in DC for that year, right? So where
yeah,
he's from, like, how about that?
yeah. I can't wait for that. I'm definitely planning to go to that. That's one of those like I plan to go to that draft for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. It's just that's a tough area to go, man. It's a tough area to go considering how the country seems to be a little bit of a fritz lately. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what 2027 looks like when we get around that time. South Carolina's former defensive end Jadeveon Clowney was released from the Carolina Panthers today. He had a 5.5 sack season last year, which is reasonable. Wasn't the worst thing in the world, right, for the Carolina Panthers, obviously. But you save Carolina a lot of money. They save the Panthers a lot of money. Some people are upset about it. I get it. As a Gamecock fan, I can understand. I get it. You want Clowney to stay Carolina Panther as long as he can because he's from Rock Hill, right?
Hmm.
At the same time, as a Carolina Panther fan, I got to look like, well, it just saved you a lot of money. It saved you a lot of money. And Dan Morgan is trying to rebuild a team right now, so it all makes sense. So I did, I did want to talk about that, and I also want to talk about because of his career that he's had, despite him being around at different teams, he's not a bust. He's not a bust. If he was a bust, he'd been out of the league a long time ago.
No, he's not. He's definitely not a bust. I
No.
don't think people understand what a actual bust is, but that ain't him. He's not a bust. He's 110%, in my personal opinion, a he's had a solid career.
Oh yeah,
I think he's had a solid career.
he has. And let's not talk about the Houston didn't utilize him the right way. We used at Houston for whatever
Facts,
reason.
facts. But he's still got some Pro Bowls in him. He's got All Pro. Um, can't say Hall of Fame. I think he does need a solid, another solid Pro Bowl,
Hmm.
All Pro season before you start considering that. Put in some serious stats. But I do believe he's had a solid career.
He
I mean, it's
has.
hard. It's hard with the expectations he had. It's hard to even be around as long as he has been. So, I mean, I think he's had a great career.
I do agree. Absolutely, I 100% agree there. It's he's to me looking back, I think he did what he needed to do.
I agree.
He did what he needed to do, and for having I think a 9.5 sack season the year before last
Hmm.
at age 32, 31.
Yeah, he's doing. He's doing.
Uh,
I think he'll be all right.
yeah, I must say, not too many edges out there. Defensive linemen are
Mm-hmm.
doing that. Not named Aaron Donald or Vaughn. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy, but I just that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Q. We just got done with the Kentucky Derby, and I gotta tell you what, man. I don't know if Xavier Leggett ever had any more fun than he did this past weekend. I mean,
Oh yeah,
his content out of that,
that was good stuff.
oh, it was great.
Yo, the Xavier is meant for the TV, bro. Like he is
Yeah,
100% like a media personnel. Like once he's done, I can see Xavier being a solid media personnel. Like he's that type of entertaining guy and even better person. Like who you see is who you get. Like Xavier is one of the ones.
and I think people don't truly understand, like, because people are like, well, why wasn't he this vocal at South Carolina? I mean, look, Xavier's a fairly quiet guy, and he had some serious tragedy that struck in his senior year of high school and his freshman year of college. Like in that time, right in that timetable, he
Hmm.
lost his parents.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. I mean, I had a friend of mine, Garrett Chisholm, played at Carolina. Almost that similar kind of thing, man. He lost his parents around, I think it was around college, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And Garrett was a quiet guy. I love Garrett to death. Garrett's a great, good buddy of mine, but he's very quiet. He was very quiet, and he didn't really, propel in the NFL like Xavier potentially can with his skill set. Right? Obviously, different positions altogether. But you've seen a different side of Xavier in the NFL because he can be who he is. Right? He's out to
Hmm.
show. I'm a country guy from Mullen, South Carolina, and you guys are seeing it, right?
Correct.
Riding all these horses, showing his countryside, going out east over, hanging out with all the country folk out there. I love it. I mean, this is fantastic to see this side of things, but people want to say it's a front or it's a joke. It's not. I mean, this is just who he is. He's more comfortable and being out there like that. He's out of his shell, if you will.
Hmm.
Out of a huge shell.
And I think it's good to see. And I just want him to continue so it can translate on the field. So I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen with
Hmm.
getting McMillan from Arizona. I think that was huge. Getting the kid out of UCF. I think that was bigger. Colorado. Getting him obviously with Thielen. Um, signing our buddy out of the team from the upstate. Renfro, right? I mean, I think South Carolina. I mean, the Carolina Panthers are going to be a solid little offense this year. And I saw Bryce Young take a lot of good steps last season, and if that continues, that offense is going to
They
be
can
something
protect
to
him.
watch.
They can
Yeah,
protect him. Yeah.
yeah, I think they can. He also added Gamecock Rico Dowdle right at the running back position there. So South Carolina, I mean,
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers still got a lot of Gamecock flavor to them, man. A lot of
Yeah.
Gamecock flavor back there.
Yeah. That's true. Still got DJ Wanham, JC Horn, all of them. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure do. Now, South Carolina's Asia Wilson, right? A prominent name.
Hmm.
Man, she's been cooking.
A legend.
A legend. Cooking. And the A1s finally came out. And buddy, I tell you what, I've failed on shoe drops a few times, okay?
Hmm.
But I don't know if I failed ever this bad. I'm telling you, I don't know if I ever failed this bad. I've had two opportunities to get these shoes now. The sneakers app, which we all know that's a
Hmm.
give or take. You either get it or you don't. Honestly,
Correct.
that happens to the best of us. And then the next one was this morning on Thursday morning. They dropped it on Foot Locker. And I'm thinking, okay, in my mind, Foot Locker is the only retail store that's holding this. Well, I was wrong. Apparently, Dick's was at 10 a.m. They opened compared to Foot Locker at 11 a.m. So I get over to Foot Locker at 11 a.m. I tried the app first at 10 a.m. Okay. Technical difficulties all day, error, you name it, it's happening. I get to the Foot Locker in Columbiana Circle, right over at Columbiana Mall in Harbison. There is a line of 25, not too bad, right? And we're all chopping
Hmm.
it up right before the store opens. Guy opens the gate. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the largest shoe size in male that we have is a 9." And I tell you what, probably out of that crowd, out of that line, probably 15 of us walked the other way. I'm like, what? What are we doing, man? A size 9 is the largest that you guys got. You received that's the largest size you received. Like, are you sure you guys aren't doing a little stock X in the back room or
Yeah.
something?
That's
I
crazy.
mean, I was wondering.
That's crazy. Mm-mm.
So, needless to say, OFG did not get the A1s. He went over to Dick's Sporting Goods, and also they were out. They were completely out, and yeah, learned my lesson on that.
Yeah,
Learned
I'm
my
gonna try
lesson
and
on
get
that.
them ones next week. The pearls. That's a goal of mine to grab those. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, the pearls and the indigos, the blue indigos and the white pearls, they drop on May 15th. And you best believe I will be at a Dick's Sporting Goods at 10 a.m. or whatever time they open and press my luck over there before I go back to a Foot Locker. Because Foot Locker failed me twice today.
Yeah.
Failed me twice today. That was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very, very unfortunate. Because I look, man, they're high demand shoes. They're high demand shoes.
Yeah. They are. That's facts.
So shout out to Asia, man, with a big shoe drop, selling out, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah. Definitely. That is definitely true. But yeah, we right now I can't wait for it because next month it'll or later this month it'll be ramping up with recruiting and stuff. We don't have really anything now, but a lot of it's gonna be ramping up. A few of the names I would really say I'm looking forward to seeing if we can what's the wording I want to use on it. A few of them I want to see if we can close the deal would probably be the words I want to use.
Mm.
I would probably say I would probably go with close the deal on. Can we get those things wrapped up? And so those guys, I want to look for Darius Gray. I know a lot of people are wondering about that. I do feel like we're still in the driver's seat. I know Shane them are recruiting like crazy. I know he loves the recruiting process, but I would think once it dies down, it dies down. Samari Matthews were out front. I do believe we can wrap that up with that uh with that official visit. Tamarian Watkins, I think that one's wrapped up with an official visit. Des Green, I'm curious to see where we are with that one. I think we hold stake, but I think it depends if we push for it. Trey Aiken, I think an official visit will wrap that one up. Julian Walker, 100% official visit will wrap that one up.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are ones I'm really intrigued to see. Landon Duckworth, I'm extremely intrigued to see what work we have to do in order to deal with that. So I think recruiting wise, we are getting in a spot, and I think a lot of what you'll see with recruiting will happen later on. I think you'll get a lot more, and as we get closer to that time, we'll go over a lot more of that recruiting stuff. So just give it a second. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I mean there's recruiting. We say it all the time, right? It's not a sprint. It's a what?
It's a marathon.
It's a marathon
It's
every
a
time.
marathon.
Every time. So South
Does
Carolina's,
Rodney Durham? Does Rodney Durham come for his official?
uh,
That's another thing. Like I'm saying, like there's a lot on the table, and I just want to know what that's going to look like.
keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. You got Carter Meadows as well from the DMV. It's guys like that. The Twins, right? You got to keep an eye on the Twins out in North Carolina.
Harris
It's
twins, yeah,
yeah.
that's one I'm intrigued by as well.
I think Travian. I think old Coach T Rob's got something for that one. I really do.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
really do. I think we see that. As far as Smoke, man, so Smoke Matthews. I mean, look, Currents told us best, man. Zaven came on here and he's like, look, he said, our family as close as can be. We've been playing ball with each other forever. Don't be surprised to see another big relationship like we saw in the 25 class, right? With Gidron, Malik Clark, you know, Donovan Murph, right? Don't be
Yeah,
surprised if you see that kind of relationship. Like, hey, we're gonna ball together. Let's go to South Carolina, right?
yeah. So we'll see.
Don't be surprised.
We'll 100% see. So
Mm-hmm.
just want to get that little tidbit.
That's a good tidbit, man. Getting that recruiting information out, and Q, as we get closer to the end of baseball season, and really ultimately find out what Mainieri's what his future is going to be. We'll find out there. Monday we're still trying to get all these guests on the show, man. There's a lot of guys that are still in the works. One of them, John Abraham, right? He's going to be a guest here on the Welcome On podcast. Well, John Abraham is graduating from college on Saturday. And not only is John Abraham graduating from college,
Huge,
Trey Kelly walking the
huge,
stage,
huge.
And Q, I've been going back and forth with it, but I believe I will be in attendance to see these guys walk the stage.
I
And
think that's huge, bro.
yeah.
I mean, these are guys I grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as y'all know, Trey's been on here several times. I mean, I'm just utterly proud, man. Keeping to the commitment, getting it done, I think is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that, and that'd be good to see those guys go ahead and go across the stage.
Well, I remember Q when Trey was talking about going back to Carolina with us. Remember
Mhm.
that when he had those
Mhm.
conversations? So yeah, you could be more proud of those guys for going
Correct.
back and after their professional careers been over, going back to get that degree. Trey Kelly is very very wise, a very very smart guy, and
Correct.
he's got his young son that could potentially follow the footsteps as his father. Man, I've been watching the videos. He's about as old as my son is, but he's out there working with his son, showing the jump shot. He was out there on the court working the other day, so it's
Yeah.
always good to see that, man. It's
Yeah.
always good to
Always.
see that. And John
Always.
Abraham seems to be a lost name for Gamecock history, and I'm here to tell you, man. Like John has gone through some things, of course, but don't sleep on his success, man. Don't sleep
Yeah.
on his comeback story because that is a guy that should be in Canton, Ohio. His name should be in Canton, Ohio, and it is not yet. And we believe me, we've had that conversation, and
Yeah.
we'll probably talk more about that when he comes, when he joins us on the show here
Yeah.
in the future. But don't sleep on those guys, man. Always remember your Gamecocks, whether it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, even 40 years ago, however long, man, 5 years ago, you name it. Just always remember them, because I'm telling you, when you keep them in mind, you remember them. They love it more than you could think of. They love it more than you can think, because they think about, most athletes think about when they leave at South Carolina. When they leave South Carolina, you don't think about them ever again. Marcus Lattimore, a prime example of that. We've heard him time and time again talk about, once I left South Carolina, the only identity that I had was as a football player, and people were going to forget about me. And it's simply not true. It's simply not true. So, shout out to, like I said, the guys out there graduating: John Abraham, Trey Kelly, and everybody else that's graduating this week. And it's Oscar Attaway being a name, Ronnie Porter being a name. Shout out to all of them walking the stage this weekend. It's a huge accomplishment. Bozeman, Bozeman's Verdonk, man. He's about to take a big job in Chicago, so congratulations to him.
Yeah.
He, has gone to law school, did what he needed to do, and hey, man, he's got a big job waiting for him. So, congratulations to him and everybody else. Jacoby Wright, all those guys. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, congrats to those guys. Congrats.
Yeah, it's just big stuff. But Q, we've gone in 40 minutes to the show. You got anything else before we wrap it up, my man?
No, we're good, man. We're good.
Very good. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in live out to Welcome Edge Pod on Apple and Spotify. We appreciate you tuning in live, as always, on Facebook, X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, on the Believe Network, as you can catch these replays. Download these episodes. I'm telling you, you can look back at the previous episodes. Look at what Lenore said last season before he started as a quarterback at South Carolina. That was a fun episode to look back on. The same thing with Jalen Kilgore, guys like that. I'm telling you, we've done a lot of great things over the past, 2 years, 3 years that we've done this. And you can always look back and listen, man. I'm telling you, there's some gold. There's some gold in these episodes. Ty Good, you name it, man. Cole Messina, Ethan Petrie. I mean, so many good episodes. Of course, our guy Trey, you name it. So, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in as always, and we will see you next time.
Peace.